Greetings, folks, and welcome to today's show. We can't get many days going by these days without thinking about economic development, and we're going to be talking about that again, as we do frequently. Dan Marcum is here as our guest. You remember that he and his wife Fran own Marcum Capital, and probably several other things, and so they're a very important cog in our economic development machine. So appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Tom, it is my pleasure to be here. As always, feel welcome to come sit here, and we're neighbors in the same building, and been watching each other grow for the past decade or so.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting when you call up the telephone, Marcum Capital on a telephone. You get a menu that says there are 4 organizations there, or maybe it's 5 now. I don't know. What are those, and how do we tell the difference?
Well, my first response would be, I guess there's 2 ways to look at that, and that is that maybe we're too cheap to have 4 telephone numbers, but we share in the cost. But one of them is Marcum Capital. Nothing's changed there. That's when we sold Microcraft. We took the money for that, and we've been making investments in small technology type companies as well as some other type companies. The other is Relevance Capital, and that's a new brand that we're putting on sort of an umbrella of all the things that we're doing. The third is Nest 10, and Nest 10 is one of the state's 1010 Vescos, and we're keeping that identity separate because it's associated with a contract that we have with the state. And the last one most recently is the Southern Middle Tennessee Centers for Entrepreneurship, and that is SimTech, we're calling it, and that's a new regional accelerator that we'll talk about here in a moment.
Okay, regional accelerator, which comes out of Nest 10.
Actually, the Nest 10 is part of a $200 million program that the state legislature put together, and the SimTech is part of a $30 million grant that the state got from the Treasury Department, from the federal government. So they're 2 distinct programs. It just so happens that that Nest 10 had some individuals, and we individuals put together an application for that state grant. So we won 1 of the 9 grants that were put out by the state, and we go from Franklin and Coffee County in the east to Perry and Wayne County in the west, and cover 13 counties. But Nest 10 covers the whole state, and they do different things, and there's separation of the funds that have to be taken care of. But, but there are some common. I took a leave, sort of a leave of absence from Nest 10, although I haven't really left, to go, and I said I would be the executive director, at least for a year, on the new SimTech.
Ah, okay. Well, let's take a short commercial break, folks, and we'll come back and go some more.
The highest standard of trust offers a sense of safety and comfort. It's established over time. You know when you see it. You know when you feel it. There's a standard of trust in healthcare. It's the Joint Commission Gold Seal of Approval. In 2003, Life Care Center of Tullahoma voluntarily achieved this accreditation and maintains it still today. Life Care, meeting a higher standard because residents matter most.
This is J.D. Oliver here at the Smokehouse on Monteagle Mountain. My sisters Betsy, Nancy, and I'd like to thank you for supporting our family business for over 50 years.
Hello, this is Stella Parton, and I am standing here right in the middle of Jim Oliver's Smokehouse restaurant. But you need to come in here. We just got through doing a show. We also have a music scene going on here, and I want to invite you to come down because it is your mountain destination. Music on the Mountain in Monteagle, Tennessee.
My name's Betsy Oliver. I'm the kitchen manager here. We serve a lot of ribs and barbecue and fried chicken.
Hey, this is Sean Mayer, and I just want to let everybody know to stop in at the Smokehouse if you're ever on your way to Chattanooga or Nashville. They not only have a great gift shop, awesome food, great entertainment on Saturday nights, but beautiful cabins to stay in. Check it out.
Make the Smokehouse your mountain getaway destination. Stay in one of our 84 lodge rooms and 20 timber frame log cabins. Look around our trading posts and eat in our delicious restaurant. Enjoy music on the mountain every Saturday night featuring the best of Nashville. Our family hopes to see you this year at Jim Oliver Smokehouse.
We're talking today, folks, with Dan Marcum And the subject is economic development, which he's very much involved in. And I noticed, in addition to the acronyms that we already had floating around, that they recently had another one, the Governor's Innovation Conference. And coming out of that was something called Launch 10. Tell us a little bit about the Innovation Conference.
The Governor's Conference on Innovation just took place, and out of that came several initiatives. One of them is Launch Tennessee, and it's an initiative that basically takes the process of doing research and development, then commercialization, transferring that technology to a commercial sector, and helping companies start up using Tennessee-developed technology. Tennessee is one state that does great academic research for creating a great academic community. It is less than stellar in doing academic research for creating industry might. So the Governor, Haslam, and his staff at ECD have set out a particular initiative to help bring that process to a central location, be able, when people want to know about what technology, what the portfolio is that the state owns, they can find that out. You don't have to go to one of the universities or the research institutions to find that out. There'll be an easier way to get that done. And then there's funds available through the Tenvesco program and through the Insight program to finance that.
Yeah.
You know, there's sort of three legs to the stool. There's the technology, the entrepreneur, and the money, and you need those three things for really to have a good, successful.
And that's pretty significant, isn't it? We spend a lot of money in research, and as you say, it's good for academic development, but we haven't done a very good job of trying to make use of that research to create companies and jobs and whatnot.
I can't say anything but great things about the research institutions that we have. They're some of the best in the world. Oak Ridge National Lab, the folks at St. Jude's, University of Tennessee, University of Memphis, Vanderbilt. These are great institutions for doing research. But their primary goal is to do the research. Their primary goal is to educate and do research, not to necessarily transfer technology.
Sure.
And so this program, they do that, but this program is designed to help accelerate that process.
And bring it all together.
And keep it in Tennessee as best we can.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, let's see, let's talk some about Nest 10, and you're one of 10 in the districts in the state. The only one, I think, outside of a major city, as I recall.
There are 7 in Nashville, 2 in Memphis, and us in Tullahoma, Tennessee. Now, some of those have other regional or remote offices in other metropolitan areas, but as far as rural areas, we are the only one that's in a rural area. There were 10 companies, and it's a $200 million program. The state didn't put any cash into the program. They just issued future tax credits to insurance companies and then got the present value of that in cash and distributed among the 10 venture capital firms, or the Tenvesco's. Ours is called Nest 10, which means networking, entrepreneurs, seed capital, and technology. And we take that and make investments in the best companies we can. Overall, since we've been at about 18 months, and as of December 31st, the total number, there had been 5,117 applications for funds. Statewide, and 73 companies that were invested in. We looked at over 600 applications and have selected 12. So we've selected the top 2%, or about 1 in 50.
Those are interesting numbers. Were you surprised at the quantity?
I'm not surprised, because I mean, there was a pent-up demand for access to capital for small businesses. It's the major reason for failures, and people need capital to sustain. Now, the market wasn't that good during the time, so there had been some bad times hit some of those companies. But for the startups, there's just not good access to capital. And Tennessee is one of the few states that has such a program. It's a great program.
Okay. We might mention also that these 10 districts have a little different focus. You have one for Tullahoma, for this district.
Each one of the 10 Vescos have a statewide focus, but they have an industry specialty.
Yes.
Some are in healthcare, some are in medical devices. The ones that we chose were advanced manufacturing and materials, clean tech, energy tech, and then digital media. Those 3 major sectors.
And you've got 12 companies so far that
12 companies that Nest 10 has invested in. Now the interesting thing is that of those 12 companies, there aren't many of them that are going to rural areas. Most of the money has gone to metropolitan areas, and that's of concern particularly to us because we're in a rural area, and we're the ones that have been leading most of the rural area investments. But there's good ideas out there that some of the rural folks have, but the ideas are not mature enough to be what we call having an investable story. And so there's still a need out there to get better deal flow, to get someone from just having an idea to getting them educated and trained in how to go out and get investment funds. And so there's a new program out that the state has funded, and that's it's called SIMTech, Southern Middle Tennessee Entrepreneur Centers. Now there are 9 of us around the state, so we're the only one called SIMTech. The others are called the Tech 2020 in Oak Ridge. There's Emerge Memphis in Memphis, and each of the regions have their own name. But we have those 13 counties, and the goal there is to get folks who have an idea and take them through a boot camp, what we're calling a Tennessee camp, and get them educated in how to raise money. Now, it may be that they want money from families and friends. They may want to get a bank loan. They may want to get an SBA loan, or they may want to get a venture capital firm in. And we help them meet whatever their needs are that they're trying to accomplish. And Nest 10 is partnered and will, in some cases, invest in those companies themselves.
Also, yeah. Out of your 12 that you've invested in, how do they? Your three focuses, how do they?
We've got a couple. They're pretty well matched up. It's you have a specialty, but when a good unique opportunity comes by, you may move out. For instance, here in Tullahoma, J2 Software Solutions is in law enforcement, but it's also could be classified as digital media. They're collecting information, all kinds of different kinds of information from different kinds of sheriff's offices that use different systems, and then pulling all that together, homogenizing it, making it fit, and taking that data and sending it to the Fusion Center in Nashville for Homeland Security and so forth, so that there's better intelligence within the law enforcement community. Doesn't clearly fit in each one of those categories that I told you, but it's a great idea and a great opportunity for Tullahoma.
Yeah, J10 is J2 is an interesting story all by itself, and demonstrates the importance of networking. This is the one where Steve Cope knew the guy who was over in one of the Carolinas, I believe.
Having those connections, having the technology, having the entrepreneurs, and having the money. We were able to successfully get all 3 legs of that 3-legged stool to stand that company up, and it's doing quite well.
And they are here in Tullahoma.
Right across the street from us.
Yeah, very good. Okay, well, you say out of your 12, they are pretty well distributed among your 3 focuses?
We have them, one in the Knoxville area, we have 3 here in Tullahoma, we've got a couple that are south of Nashville and just north of Nashville, Murfreesboro, not much in West Tennessee and not much in Far East Tennessee.
Okay.
But along Highway 24, 40, 65, and some of the back roads.
Well, they are a couple of significant data points there. Number one, that your organization can operate statewide, does operate statewide. And number two, that given all the specialties, if somebody here in your district has an idea that doesn't fit your focus, they need to come to you anyway, and you'll make sure they get matched up.
We will network them across the state. We'll help them get funds, and the different funds work together. So if we need to get additional funds from the other 10 Vescos, we can do that.
Good. Okay. Well, with that, folks, we need to take a short commercial break, and we'll come back and go some more.
going to tell you I love you more than anything in the whole wide world, even ice cream. I love you more than spaghetti and meatballs. I love you more than snakes and monkeys and sharks and whales and praying mantises. Bye, Grandma. Love you.
Let it all in with Charter Phone, including unlimited local and long-distance calls.
We're back, folks, and we're talking today with Dan Marcum, and the subject is economic development, and his organizations are very heavily involved in that and are doing a lot of good for us. I meant to mention that you're matching different folks, different ideas. Anybody that has an idea, you're matching them with the district. That if they're not in your field, you'll find the one that fits. And in your area, which is energy, what do you have a particular thrust or focus?
We are really not looking at alternative fuels. We're not looking at creating solar arrays and making farms. But we've looked at companies that have high strength materials for making blades lighter and more efficient that could go on windmills. We've looked at a company that does actually heat exchange units. We're invested in a company that makes certain that when concrete is delivered at a specific point with a specific consistency and a specific temperature control that is done for creating very tight spec bridges and dams and things like that. That company's in Murfreesboro. So we're more interested in the pumps and valves, and as I tell people, if you drop it and it goes thud, we understand it because of our manufacturing background. So we're interested in those kinds of devices.
Okay, and you mentioned earlier that and I guess you're talking about heat exchangers, and you're looking at a geothermal application.
Yes, there's a company that we're invested in, and there's some technology coming out of Oak Ridge National Laboratory dealing with that subject that we're now looking at trying to match up with an entrepreneur. So sometimes we start with the company and the individual who has an idea. Sometimes we find a technology and try to find that entrepreneur and help them stand up a company.
Yeah. Well, I'll buy it. How do you go about looking for an entrepreneur?
Sometimes they just show up, but they may have an idea that they've thought about, and you see them and you feel that energy. There's a lot of 25-year-olds out there and 25 that have a lot more energy and ideas, and they will be good businessmen. And as I often say, if I have a choice of an A leader and a B technology, I'll choose that every time over a B leader and an A technology. Because when you find that rising star, you select them. And whether it's this kind of company or that kind of company, they'll probably be successful in either one.
Yeah. Incidentally, we should, I think, mention the fact that it sounds like you are primarily looking to start new businesses, but you are open to ideas from existing businesses. I guess you have to be kind of careful that you're not.
There are startups, there are ramp-ups, there are people that want to go viral with their product. There's different stages of companies, and they come in all flavors and all sizes and shapes, and we'll listen to any of them. And the goal is a double bottom line, quite frankly. In addition to having an investment that's profitable so that the state can get their funds back, we want to create jobs and we want to build an infrastructure such that at some point in time in the future when that entrepreneur wants to sell, that company won't be uprooted and taken somewhere else. We want those assets to remain in Tennessee. So that we talk about that double bottom line, and that's a factor when it comes to what we might invest in.
When a guy with an idea, or girl, comes to you, what is it how do you evaluate that idea? What are you looking to come out of that idea?
That's a great question. We talk about first having a team, an entrepreneurial team. It's good if they have somebody that knows how to do the marketing, somebody that knows how to do the management, somebody that understands the technology, and that they fit as a team. That's the first thing. The second thing we look for is a proof of concept. Does it work, or does it take a lot of money to prove whether it will work? Thirdly, we ask about, and this is kind of a key term that's for us, and that's a proof of relevance, which is why we're called relevance capital. And that is, will somebody reach in their pocket and take money out and buy this product or this system or this idea or this new digital media concept? And after we've done that, then we sort of look at just the whole economics of it. What's the burn rate? How much do they spend per month to get to where they can get revenue in? And then when do they break even? Because when we're making a commitment up front to invest in money, we're often making a commitment to make 2 or 3 investments over the near term or the 3 or 4 years of that first part of that investment. So it's not just the first $50,000 or 150. It may be $1.5 million, $2 million that has to be invested. So we have to measure that as well.
I would think you, or maybe not, that you're starting off with small businesses, but are you interested in whether they're going to stay a small business or not?
We're invested in a couple of firms that I think can be real home runs, be transformational. I don't think they'll be Facebook, but they might be the Facebook in their particular of their particular character, and that we think that could happen in 3 or 4 years. Some of them may be a flash and make a lot of money, and not get that double bottom line structure. But we do want to give the states money, get them all their money back, so this program did not cost the taxpayers anything, and we want to create the infrastructure. And that's about the only reward we get, for the most part, is they pay us a stipend to manage the funds, but that's not really the home run. The home run is that we get to share in the growth of the company at the end of the 7th to 10th year.
Okay. And you're expecting, I would think, that these are ideas that are going to generate some excitement from some source or from a general source.
Well, some of the, in some cases, yes. Some they're more technical, and they're maybe not all that exciting. In one case, there's a company that we're looking at with a technology that is in part coming out of Oak Ridge National Lab called super hydrophobic materials, and it's something that can be applied to a material or a surface, and it will repel water. It won't freeze because it won't allow water to go in there. It can be used on boat hulls, on gun barrels, all kinds of. We have a beach house, and our air conditioners have to be replaced all the time because of the salt.
Yeah.
And so covering those, that could be very successful if indeed we can put something that'll wear a little better and adhere a little better. But that's still in the laboratory, and the question is how long will it take to get it out of the laboratory.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about your SimTech, your entrepreneur centers. They're going to be how many of those?
Well, there's 2 main headquarters, one in Tullahoma and one in Spring Hill at the Saturn plant. The Murray County folks over there bought that headquarters back from General Motors, It's 320,000 square feet of office, Class A office space, about half the size of the Batman building in Nashville. And in there, our Columbia State Community College is training, the Pulaski Technology Center is training. We have an accelerator, and they're already filling up some of the space now with tenants who are occupying some of the other offices there.
Well, tell us about an accelerator. What does that mean? What are you doing?
And we
got about 30 seconds.
Take somebody that's got an idea and turn it into an investable story. We'll do that in what's called a Tennessee Boot Camp. It starts June 18th at both locations, and the deadline to apply is May 28th.
And they last, is that still the 11 or 12 week
It's nominally a 100-day program, but it's a bit more not homogeneous, but just fluid, and it can take a little longer if the program needs to take a little longer, but it depends upon the needs of that particular entrepreneur.
And the basic purpose of that is to offer these folks the training it takes to
about 8 weeks of building that investable story for them, and about 5 weeks of actually the training and the budgeting and all the skill sets that need to be a great leader.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that, folks, we're going to have to wind up. Let's take a short commercial break, and we'll do just that.
I'm NASCAR driver Mark Martin. You know what's worse than waiting in traffic? Waiting in the emergency room when you're in pain. So choose the ER that's extra fast, ER Extra. ER Extra is specifically engineered to get you the help you need and back in action with race car speed. ER Extra. Extra fast, extra easy, extra great.
ER Extra. Exclusively at Harton Regional Medical Center.
You'll never guess what happened today.
What?
You want to see? They found a giant squid in New Zealand, bigger than this whole bedroom. Bigger than Mommy's minivan. Pounds. Isn't that amazing? And its eyeball, big as a basketball.
Let it all in with Charter Internet and get the fastest, most reliable internet speeds.
We've been talking today, folks, with Dan Marcum of Marcum Capital and several other related enterprises. And Dan, is there a little message you'd like to deliver directly to the folks?
I think so, yes. I've personally been blessed by having an economic opportunity in a rural community. It was basically because my wife's father started a small machine shop in Tullahoma, Tennessee. But that economic opportunity allowed us to learn how to build from a 3 men in a garage to about 20 people when my wife and I got back to Tullahoma, to ultimately about 700 employees. And it was done in rural Tennessee. So there are many, many opportunities. That's a great time in Tennessee because of the money that's out there, the initiatives that the federal government and the state government are putting forth to create small companies that create jobs. It's a great time to apply to a Simtech center, or if you're outside this service area, to any one of the other 8 accelerators in the state.
Okay. Thanks very much for taking time to join us, Dan, and we'll be back. With that, folks, we thank you for inviting us into your parlor, and we'll see you next time.